colder the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. Black and white. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. Black and white, just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico, it's black and white. White, white, white. Black and white. Black and white. Oh, 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 oh. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to another race meeting in the Porsche Colour Bar of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. We're here at a phenomenal venue that has been a real staple on the calendar since the start of this fantastic Sim Racing Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, and alongside me once again is the wonderful Peter MacKay for another night of very, very entertaining action. Peter, we've had a mega season so far, a lot of very different racetracks. This, to be honest though, it wouldn't be right if we didn't go to Donington Park, would it?
Absolutely. Of course, this was the first ever round of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Season 1 in the when the sim racing paddock got started. And well, it was I will never forget the reverse grid race and the unmitigated carnage. I've never seen so many cars off the road at Craner Curves, and what a long way we've come since then. Bigger grids, fantastic racing, fantastic driving, and some real talent as well. It has come such a long way in really, what are we, 18 months maximum. Really, really impressive. So yes, you're absolutely right. Donington, it's part of the furniture here in PCGB.
It really is, and to be honest, I think it was probably one of the funniest broadcasts we've had together as well. Everybody knows that we love our banter on these broadcasts, but I think possibly the one where we cried laughing the most was last time out at Donington Park. So after tonight, if you are up for a laugh, then please do go back and have a look. Now, there's a few updates to proceedings this week. Basically, in previous rounds, we realised it wasn't too easy to tell apart which drivers were in each class. So what we've done is we've added some little stripes and a few splashes of colour to your screens, so you'll be able to tell who is in what class. That's once they have a position show up, of course. We look at Ross Dunstan first off, as he makes his way down through the old hairpin. Now, the two classes, as you'll see at the top of the screen, will be red and blue. There's going to be Pro in red, with the red flashes on the windscreen banners that they have, and then AM is going to be blue. So nice to tell them apart. But in both classes so far this season, Peter, I'd say maybe even, if one more than the other, the AM racing has been absolutely amazing, because a lot of the time it's slipped under the radar slightly for us, hasn't it?
Well, there's certainly been a lot to keep on top of, that's for certain. Really, really tricky to get an eye on all the battles. But I have to be honest, I mean, loving this new heat racing format that we've got here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing series, and really gives us lots to watch. Not just the battle for the race win, but also the battle for that top 10 for the transfer positions, because if you don't finish in the top 10, you're going through the Consolation race, and as we've found, that is a pretty perilous route to take.
It is indeed. Really is quite the way to shake up your evening. Jacob Tofts has just started a lap, so we're going to go on board with the reigning champion into Redgate. Very tricky corner to get right. There's a slight crest there as Jacob hangs the back end out over the exit, down the Craner curves, one of the most legendary pieces of motorsport history in the UK, really. Craner's so scary. The old hairpin, barely even a 90-degree right, is it? Jacob just runs a little bit wide on the exit, though, slightly overdoes it. The bridge isn't there anymore, unfortunately, but he still makes his way up the hill, and he's going to pull it over, actually, and ruin that, so thank you, Jacob. We'll resume where we left off, then, with Mark Baxter-Jones, who is keeping it a lot tidier through there. Back up the hill. And to be fair, Peter, obviously growing up watching the British Touring Car Championship and the like, McLean's, what a legendary corner it must be if it's, if it's anything like it used to be, because there always seemed to be drama there in touring cars, and I'm assuming we're going to see more of the same here.
Well, I hope they've been watching their tapes of the 2020 British Touring Car season, because I do remember the first round of the championship at Donington where your boy Ash Sutton pulled off the most unbelievable manoeuvre into McLean's coming out of Schwann's Curve, and I do remember actually listening to a podcast a few weeks later where John Cleland claimed it was his move, and that Ash Sutton had been watching his touring car VHS tape. So it's somebody's original move in there. Maybe it was Andy Rouse's move. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. So yes, you're right. It is an opportunity to pick the pocket of your rivals as well. But we should, talking of BTCC, of course, you can't talk about Donington without talking about BTCC, and an absolute star of the championship, Gabriele Tarquini, announced his retirement at the age of 89. No, I don't think he's as old as that, but at a ripe age for a racing driver anyway, announced his retirement. And I think one of his best wins was when, do you remember the year where the Pro Drive Fords were, they had about 1 million horsepower,
2000.
and just had, yes,
yeah,
where it was just Ford versus Ford versus Ford.
Yeah.
And Tarquini turned them over in the Honda Accord here at Donington.
He did, yes. And to be fair, that weekend he'd put it on pole for both races, the sprint and the feature. And in the sprint race, I think on lap 1, he just overdid it at Coppice and then put himself way down the order. But in the feature race, yeah, he was absolutely gone. And nobody could get anywhere near him. And it's quite funny, actually, because later in the year, those Hondas really were hard to beat. I mean, the final couple of race meetings at Silverstone, there was only about 9 or 10 cars in the main class. You had 3 Fords, 3 Hondas, 3 Vauxhalls, and then Matt Neal in a Nissan, and occasionally another one driven by, I think it was either Will Hoy or David Leslie, or even Mark Blair. They all seemed to share the other Nissan, but at the end of the year, the 3 Hondas, 1, 2, 3, all of the time at Silverstone, very hard for them to beat. So it's a shame that the cars developed so late, but eventually they caught up. Now, hopefully, on the left-hand side of your screen, everybody, the Pro and Am little stripes are making sense. The red ones are the Pros, the blues are the Ams. So as you can see, Paul Goffin is currently our highest-placed Am driver, just ahead of Byron Crawford at the moment. Carwadine is third in that class, but it's Paul Rieger, Anchors Rieger, that is top of the pile at the moment, Peter.
Good time there from Paul Rieger, 127.994, running in the red and gold Shark e-bikes livery, which is actually, I understand, this livery has been inspired by Lorcan Hannafin's Porsche Club GB livery, the MIS insurance livery.
It looks very nice indeed.
It does.
Very tasty looking car. He's got Shark e-bikes.
It's a German car with German colours.
Yes, indeed, actually. I like that. Shark e-bikes one side, Midas Simulation the other. And speaking of Midas Simulation, we don't have a Matt Dorrington with us this evening, unfortunately.
Do you know why they're called Shark e-bikes?
I do not.
Because they're made in Yorkshire.
Ah. Not Sharkshire.
E-bikes.
E-bikes. Oh, that took me too long to get. Sorry. That was wasted on me, mate. Oh,
here comes the flying bogey.
Yep.
I ended up in an official race with Christian Zeruta the other day. I say I was in a race. I was on the same grid. He won by a mile. I got absolutely pasted. The bogey was just flicked away and out of sight before I could see where it was.
Yeah, that's like me with anybody that I ever commentate on. Mark Bowe is further down the order than I expected to see him. 18th overall at the moment, the lowest placed pro driver that's put a time in. Jacob Tofts hasn't done one yet, but he's just coming around the final corner now. I think this is actually him starting his fast lap, you know. I'll probably be wrong. Yep. Goes second fastest by 69 thousandths of a second, just 6 thousandths faster than Simon Povey. Fausto Pinto hasn't put a time in yet. Wow, that's a very, very garish car. But he's had some contact with the wall at some point somewhere. We will try and find out where that was. Here it is. Let's have a look what he does here. Oh, he's just going to loop it on the right, isn't he? Ah. Yeah, that's more than easy to do, isn't it, really, Peter?
Well, maybe somebody in the crowd was just checking their makeup in the mirror and it reflected back and Fausto saw what that car looked like and went, just put him off. I mean, that's a loud paint scheme he's got there as well. I like this one, though, from Andrew Shepherd. It looks like the inside of a gaming PC.
It does.
All the little wires tasty. And stuff, yeah.
It's a lot tidier than the inside of my PC. I'll tell you that. If you take the back off my PC, to be fair, the front of it looks alright. It's nice and clean, nice and tidy, well cable managed, but you take the back off it, no. No, God forbid.
I trust the work of the good folks at Lenovo. I'm not going anywhere near it.
Oh, now this has got me buzzing. Ralph Meyer's car, the Crockery Direct Machine, bit of honeycomb pattern all over that. Carl Hazelton's...
That's a sweet thing to say.
Thank you, honey. Carl Hazelton's back out on track.
Unbelievable.
Oh, no. Oh, you really took the sting out of that one. Carl Hazelton makes his way up to McLean's. How are we going to go on? Oh, let's not mix it with the butter, shall we? Sorry. Or hazelnut, for that matter. Hazelnut chocolate spread.
We really need to behave.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, it's like we've gone through our pun books with a fine-tooth comb. No.
Very good.
Right, let's come on with Carl Hazelton. That way you probably can't hear me over the car because for some reason it's mighty loud in here, more than normal. And Chaz changed these cameras today, so really we should be able to hear me. Carl struggling a little bit there with the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, but it's one of those corners that always catches people out, isn't it? Downhill, hard onto the brakes, kind of like this one, but it goes downhill when you get to the apex. It's a really tough bit of circuit, the GP loop at Donny.
Kenny Lawson used to call it... sorry, Eddie Lawson. I'm getting my 1980s Grand Prix racers mixed up. Eddie Lawson used to say it. He called it the parking lot section. He wasn't a fan. Was Eddie Lawson Steady Eddie? No, because it was basically put in to get to Grand Prix distance because in the national layout it wasn't long enough. So that was why it was put in. Do you know they had the first ever World Superbike race here?
First ever?
First ever for World Superbike race, yes.
Wow. Fair play. The stuff you know, mate. I love it. Absolutely love it.
All nonsense.
Let's have a look at our grid then. Jacob Tofts and Simon Povey on the front row ahead of David Ward and Johnny Elia. Carl Sharkey is going to start 5th ahead of Paul Goffin, who is the highest placed AM driver. Then it's Mark Johnson and Tom Slater, with Andrew Shepherd and Mark Bowe rounding out E10. Then it's Mark Phillips and Chris Byram on row 6 ahead of Angus Archer and Sam Sellers. David Patching then lines up on row 8 with Mark Elvin ahead of Ethan Gardner, Spencer Ayres, Andrew Marston and Gavin Halls is 20th after having a qualifying ban. Then we have James Cummings, Luke Holroyd, Andrew Soper and Peter Brill is at the back of the pack. So, the groupie has arrived in chat, it seems, and will be removed as such. Who are you thinking for this one, Peter? What's on your agenda in this one?
It's Jacob Tofts to lose, really. He's on the crest of a wave at the moment, but watch out for Simon Povey and Lady Penelope there on the outside of the front row because things haven't quite gone his way, but we know he's got speed. In fact, often he's the only driver to hold a glove to Jacob Tofts. Will it be his night tonight? Will he get a bit nicer treatment from the girls at the coffee shop tomorrow morning? Let's hope so, for his sake.
Well, he's certainly going to be trying hard. Part of me would love to think that that's really high up on his agenda as well, is the fact that he knows that the result is based on
what he gets written on his coffee cup in the morning.
It's an interesting dynamic.
The fact that the lovely ladies at his local coffee shop watch his racing, I mean, how cool's that?
It is very cool.
That's my kind of coffee shop.
Yeah, a coffee shop where they watch Porsches, even virtual ones. That is good going. We're just waiting for the guys to pop up at the back of the grid, although Peter Brill is there. I think the rest of them have got a pit lane start, so we do have to wait for them. They have to wait for the full countdown. But here we go then. The first heat race of the night at Donington Park in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series is underway. All the cars bobble off the line and the two pink machines gravitate to one another. Simon Povey moves all the way over to the right to try and defend from David Ward. Doesn't quite get rid of the overlap. David's going to go down the inside. Povey's gone in hot. Carl Sharkey's also gone down the inside. Johnny Elia loses a place just behind. They're all trying to filter their way through. Mark Johnson has taken the lead in the AM class. Just about there as he sneaks around with Paul Goffin and Tom Slater as down the inside.
Good move.
Lovely stuff. Now Goffin's under attack from Andrew Shepherd trying to go around the outside of him as well. Mark Bowe is in there. He's one of the only people that is currently where he started, actually. Everybody else has moved around. Peter Brill's gained 5 places, which is the guys that he overtook that started at the pits, and Sharkey's off.
Oh, that's something we don't say very often. It's a bit of a collector's item. And is Carl pulling off there? I think he is. Something's not right there at all. Right, let's have a look and see what happens. That's a bit strange. It just looked like it got away from him on cold tyres. And then... oh, does he need the gents?
Oh, maybe, yeah. Oh, well, he's still there.
Right. So, I think his carryouts arrived.
Maybe.
Oh.
Mark Elvins has arrived, certainly. Oh.
Mankini International Racing Team.
Oh, we've got more cars off. Angus Archer.
Oh, dear.
And Sam Sellers. Now, how long is that going to take to process in the brain of Sam Sellers? Little moment there, not quite sure whether he caused it or Angus Archer. Let's have a look. Oh, dear.
Oh, it just snapped around on him.
Yeah. Well,
That was quite good, I thought.
Yeah. I like how these puns develop. But
the Schweppes car is back.
Oh, the Schweppes car is back as well. Get in. Oh.
Cheers to that.
Yes. Jeez. Jacob Toft leads. David Ward is second. Simon Povey is third. Lady Penelope holding on at the moment. Mark Johnson leads the AM class. Fourth overall as well. That's really good going so far for Mark. Mark Baxter Jones in the chat saying Carl's stopped to chat to his groupie. Fair play, mate. Fair play. Everyone's got our fans.
Do you know, he genuinely does have a groupie. Do you remember this? Back in the International Sim Racing Challenge. There was
God.
Somebody commenting, oh, go Sharky. I want Sharky to win.
That's very true.
He got that one pretty tight for a few months.
I'm not surprised, to be honest. Peter Brill has been dazzling his way through the field. He's got 9 places gained at the moment. He's having a great race. James Cummings as well, just up the road. He's coming up through the order as things stand. Love the livery on that car. James Cummings has always had good-looking cars in this championship as well, to be fair. He's gained 7 places at this moment in time, but just behind, Ethan Gardner sends it down the inside. Lovely stuff. Luke Holroyd tries to come with him as well. You could call that a chaser. Up the hill they go. Side by side, Luke trying to hang it around there with Peter Brill. Angus Archer's going to be waiting to try and take advantage of this if it all goes wrong. But no, still they stay side by side. It looks actually like Luke has used that outside line to carry some more pace down the straight, and he has. Pulls across. Lovely stuff from the reigning AM champion. Andrew Shepherd's now under pressure from Mark Bowe here, Peter.
It's great to see Ethan Gardner mixing it in the top 15 in the Schweppes car.
Whoa!
Oh, I've got the good cheer there. Sorry, I need to stop.
No, to be fair, I was just scared about where Spencer was going to go when that car went off. Just a bit too hot into the old hairpin.
This car understeers quite badly.
Yeah?
That's one thing I would say, yes. It's much more stable than the old car. It does give you a bit more warning when it starts to slide, but the trade-off for that is it does understeer quite a bit. And you can't. You remember the old car? You could get it to turn with a bit of trail braking.
Yeah.
No, it's you're on your own. It's a lot more linear, I would say, which works both ways.
Yeah, definitely. You do get that warning, but at the same time, it's at a risk of, well, a sort of trade-off for performance loss in certain areas. In some ways.
Yes, exactly so. It's not holding Jacob Toft back, though, mind you, as usual.
No, he is absolutely gone at the moment. 1.6 seconds ahead of David Ward in the beautiful number 69 machine. Then it's Simon Povey, car 3, P3. Johnny Elia, well, it doesn't quite work, car 688 P4. Mark Johnson, though, got Tom Slater right behind him. Tom was an absolute star to watch last season in the AM Championship. Really enjoyed watching him and Luke Holroyd have some mega battles as the season went on. And he is now in the Pro class as a showing of his fantastic pace. But there's a few positions between our AM leader and second place in class, Andrew Shepherd. So Andrew needs to try and chip away at the guys in front or hope that Mark Johnson gets caught up in something. Someone who is caught up in something is Spencer Ayres again. He's having a bit of a nightmare here, Peter.
Yeah, it's not been a good start to the day for Spencer Ayres at all. And I remember, of course, it's not just the battle for the win we've got to think about. It's the battle for the top 10, because that is the positions. Just run straight on there at McLean's and just can't get the car slowed down. It seems that the driver's really struggling actually a bit, or certainly Spencer really struggling there with understeer. But yes, the battle for the top 10 is very important at the moment. Mark Phillips is in 10th spot at the moment with Paul Goffin right behind, who's the last man standing. He'll be the man holding the baby when the music stops. Now, do we have a new livery for Bernie? We do. The Creepy Crawley. Now, do you know what Creepy Crawley is?
I do not.
So, the Creepy Crawley was a sponsorship that came up in the 1980s in IMSA. And at that time in the 1980s in IMSA, a lot of the teams were being funded by illicit finance, shall we say. You know, they were in the import-export business, let's just put it that way. Anyway, there was one of the teams had a March chassis with a Porsche engine in it, and it had the Creepy Crawly livery. And the Creepy Crawly is one of those robots that goes around and cleans your swimming pool automatically.
Ah. That's intriguing.
Which must have been, it was pretty big technology in the 1980s. But yeah, if you've got lucky enough to have a swimming pool at home, you get one of those, you drop it in the water, and it just drives around cleaning your pool for you. So that's what the Creepy Crawly is. I mean, Bernie, he's definitely got a pool at home. Surely. Oh yeah.
Must have. Livery looks good as well, actually.
It does look good, yeah.
This is a view back from Ethan Gardner. It's Luke Holroyd sending it down the inside, and well, he shook the bottle a bit too much there, I'd say. Now, Gavin Halls is trying to just negotiate his way through this. He's got Spencer Ayres behind him, chomping at the bit. Then you have Angus Archer trying to stay out of trouble. Also, he's got a bit of damage on his car from earlier contact. Spencer Ayres just gets ahead of Ethan Gardner. Now Archer looks down the inside. Doesn't quite work for him. Well, the Schweppes machine, well, he's not really got that much punch out the corner. It looks like something's up with it. Now Gavin Halls and Luke Holroyd is side by side. These guys trying everything they can to hold one another up. I think more in the case of Holroyd hanging back to try and hold up Mr. Halls here, because we know that Gavin is the man to beat at a lot of circuits on this calendar. Gav looks down the inside. Luke says, not on your life. He's going to go deep, though. Gav's going to get the run. Oh, nicely done by Gavin, though. He hung back at the right moment there, didn't he, Halls, just to make sure that Luke ran wide and then say, right, I've got my exit sorted. I'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, it just looked like Luke just pushing that little bit over the edge there, trying to keep Gavin Halls at bay, but yeah, couldn't quite keep him at bay. Gavin Halls has started the last 2 rounds now from the pit lane, so he's been a naughty boy, has Gav. But it does mean that we get to see these incredible drives through the field, and well, if Gavin has got 6 minutes to try and make up 4 spots, and if he can do that to get himself automatically into the final, it'll be quite an impressive run, because if he doesn't, he'll be in the consolation race and he'll have to start from pit lane, and that will be much harder in the short consolation race to get a spot on the grid.
Yeah, that's it. He needs to work very hard now to get up there and try to break into that top 10. Some of the guys inside the top 10 you will see at this point may chill out a bit. These guys certainly aren't, because it helps your grid position later on. Mark Johnson very close to Tom Slater there, or was Tom close to Mark? Make your own decisions on that one. But Mark is just doing everything he needs to do now. He's defending a bit at the moment. He's racing Tom. That's pretty much all he's doing. He doesn't need to risk too much because he's leading the AM class, but this isn't where the points get determined. So I think he's just going to take what he can and go with it at the moment, but he's just trying to enjoy himself and race Tom Slater because he's got good pace at the minute as Johnson.
Yeah, I think this is more about when you're in this stage, is saying, okay, you're a good spot, you're in the feature race. At the moment, a top 5 finish would get on the 5th row of the grid for that feature race, and that, as you say, Chaz, that is where the big points are scored. And this is where, with the field a little bit more spread out, if you feel the driver behind you who's in the pro class and you're in the AM class is a bit quicker, no point taking many risks as well. And it looks like Slater's ready to make a move here. Now, is he going to try it? He gets close. No, not quite. So Johnson just a little bit better there into Redgate in the red car. Very nice Porsche Salzburg livery there. That was John Wire of the Gulf Racing team was not impressed when that outfit turned up, because the whole point of John Wire having what he thought was the factory deal to run the Porsche 917, he thought he had exclusive use of it with the Gulf sponsorship, but then Porsche's Mrs. Piech of Porsche Salzburg, it was basically a works team, turned up, and yeah, John Wire wasn't very happy. Ferdinand Piech and John Wire did not get on at all.
Well, we still get a very pretty race car out of it, at least.
We do. We did. Yes.
And, you know, even the liveries now on modern-day Porsches still look like modern classics. They are absolutely awesome to look at. Really do like these. But Tom Slater not able to do enough at the moment. It seems like they're quicker than each other on very different parts of the circuit. Tom seems to be a bit quicker in the middle sector, whereas it's Johnson that's quicker in other places. I think we just had a bit of a moment for Andrew Shepherd, who just got overtaken by Chris Byram. Or just a lock-up downhill. Like I said before, it's so easy to do that, isn't it, when you're going downhill into a hairpin like that. And Angus Archer's had an issue.
Oh, Angus.
Where's
oh,
that?
that's a big one there.
Chicane.
Yeah, it looks like it's maybe... So it looks like the car doesn't look all that healthy to start with, and then just loses it coming through the chicane there. There's Angus. I don't like him.
No,
One of the safest drivers in the field is Angus Archer, of course, real world PCGB racer and owner of AMS Porsche. Now, David Ward back under pressure here from Simon Povey. So for the feature race, Simon will be... Oh, just makes a mistake there going in. Oh, that's so frustrating. Of course, these cars don't have any anti-lock braking systems like you would have in your road car. So if you just put that little bit too much pressure in, you'll hear this horrible... You hear this kind of... It's almost like a scraping sound of the tyre scrubbing along the tarmac. And basically, it's almost like hitting a patch of ice temporarily. And it's just saps the confidence on the brakes. And look how much of a gap that's given to Ward in a critical moment.
Yeah, it's like someone scraping a paper cup along a wooden table, isn't it? The noise. Horrible sound. Absolutely horrible. That's honestly what I thought iRacing's tyres sounded like when they changed them a while ago. Hello. Caravan Carl has got the tow hook out right now. On the front of it, chasing down Luke Holroyd, who's trying to get past Spencer Ayres. Look at this as they all try and move around for one another.
That was a pretty stern defence there from Luke Holroyd. Just throws a nice little block. Lovely.
And now Spencer's trying to come back at him. Doesn't work. Can Sharky then make anything of it? We'll go back on board at the final corner. These things sound so good, man. So good. Look at the acceleration down the straight. Getting to 220 Ks there or thereabouts before the end of the straight at Donington. It's not a long straight at Donny, especially when you come out of a hairpin. You've not got much of a run, but through down the inside is going to go Carl Sharkey. Oh, Spencer's closed it off. There's more contact. The two of them bounce off each other. Oh, Spencer tried to get rid of the gap, but Carl was already there. I needed to leave more room than that. I think that it almost straightened him up, didn't it, Peter? And then it was the second bit of contact that really put them in the bin.
Yeah, I wonder if maybe if Spencer Ayres didn't quite realise that Carl was so close. I think it seemed like a little bit of a blind spot situation there. Of course, this is where the benefit of either a virtual reality headset, where you can look around and you've got you can literally check over your shoulder effectively.
Yeah.
Or like most pro sim racers now use the triple screen setup, which sort of wraps around the driver, which is a little bit quicker, I believe, than the VR.
Yeah,
a little bit more accurate. Yeah, and there is a cost involved with both of these solutions.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I'm on a single screen. I don't mind admitting it.
Now, to be fair, I use triples, but only 22s.
You're a pro, though.
Not at all. But I've not got a rig that's dedicated with mounted screens and everything. I just slide my rig under my desk. That's all I can manage to do. We need to look at this, actually, because James Cummings is right on the back of Mark Phillips now. And this is for the final position in the top 10. So this is whether you get through into the final or not. We may also have to not look at this for a second, because up into the final couple of corners, we have Jacob Tofts, who's about to get onto the brakes into the hairpin for the final time. It's been a very Jacob Tofts-esque performance, taking the win in the first heat of the evening. GG, Jacob Tofts. David Ward, he's going to finish second. Smashing job from third on the grid. Lady Penelope, Simon Povey finishing car 3, P3. And we need to go back to this because we're going to have Elia, Slater, Johnson, Bow, Byram and Shepherd confirmed in the top 10. Can Bernie hold off James Cummings for the last corner? James sends it in deep. Bernie needs to just tickle it out the last corner and be very careful. Looks like Cummings has got the run, but Bernie himself is going to get into the final. Cummings is going to start near the front of the grid, theoretically, for the Consolation race. Goffin, Halls, Patching, Holroyd, Sharkey, Ayres, Archer, Gardner and Brill. All drivers that didn't make it through. Same with Andrew Soper. Same with Mark Elvin, Andrew Marston as well. And Sam Sellers out of the race early on. But there's a number of names in there, Peter. I mean, Gavin Halls, Luke Holroyd, Carl Sharkey. You know, these are all guys that we would have expected to go through straight away, but no.
Yeah, this is the format. This is how cruel it can be sometimes. If something goes wrong, there is not the time to recover. But that you've got to keep it clean. And Carl Sharkey, it was just one tiny mistake, just lost it ever so slightly coming out of McLean's, and that was it. And that threw him back into the perils of the kind of top 15 battle and couldn't make his way forward. And Gavin Halls now, he's got a very long night ahead of him.
He does indeed. And it's time now for the second grid of the evening. This is usually a bit quicker, this one, so you might have to bear with us. Paul Rieger and Austin Greatorex on the front row. Mark Baxter Jones and Christian Saruta on row 2. It's an all-AM row 3. João Estevez and Byron Crawford. Ross Dunstan lines up alongside Rob Sharp, ahead of Oliver Carwadine and Stuart Clark. Then we have Amrik Sashdev and Heinz Mayer. Then it's Michael Rowe, Fausto Pinto, Ralph Mayer, Paul Stout, Carl Hazelton and Gregory Butterworth. Josh Bailey 19th, ahead of Stephen Harpham. Colin Wynne, Kershaw and Penny also not starting from the grid, not putting a time in qualifying. So a couple more naughty boys this week, Peter. A few people doing pit lane starts, which means that we'll have at least another minute before this race gets underway. This field, for me, no offence to any of the drivers, but there's fewer of the sort of standouts from last season for me in this grid, I think. It's a harder one to call in that way, though.
Yes, I think so, yes. There's the top 5 are pretty much even Stevens. Nothing to separate on pace at all.
Let's see how they get on then. Second heat of the night gets underway. And it's a very even start as well. A bit of movement in the middle there. That's Byron Crawford in the camouflaged machine. No, it's not. Sorry, it's João Estevez in the very bright green machine into the middle of the pack. Sounds like somebody was around, or at least sideways there. I could hear tyres screeching. Looks like everybody nice and tidy through the first corner. Down the crane as they go. Let's get into the thick of it, shall we? Let's go on board with Michael Rowe. Show you what one of these starts looks like from right in the middle of the pack. Cars everywhere, all changing direction, using different lines. It's not an easy place to navigate, is it, Peter?
Not at all. It's good that Michael Rowe has got the use of paddle shift here to work through the gearbox.
Up towards the wonderful coppice we go. Very difficult corner. It's a blind apex here, and when you're chasing other cars as well, it's so hard to get it right. And off the circuit, that's Heinz Mayer. Oh, he's come back across. Oh, and he's battered into the side of Carl Hazelton, that was. Carl's car, very second-hand. Oh, and out of all people to hit him, Ryan Penn. Oh, no.
Oh, no. Sponsored by Porsche Centre Chester. Oh.
Yeah, well, at least, you know, at Porsche Centre Chester, that will get serviced and sorted very, very well and very quickly.
Best body shop in the business.
There you go. They're going to need it now. Austin Greatorex up the hill, leading the way from Paul Rieger. He's taken the lead off his teammate. Saruta is third after overtaking Mark Baxter Jones, and Dunstan is into the top 5 now. He's gained 2 places from where he started. Oliver Carwadine, pushed out wide a little bit, I think, there by Rob Sharp. He's got Stuart Clark now putting the pressure on him. Let's just have another look at that incident, though, because I think it was just Heinz Mayer just went a little bit too hot into coppice. And there wasn't really anything that Carl could do. It was good driving from Heinz to begin with, because he was leaving the space. Nothing Carl Hazelton could do. There was also contact in there with...
I think was that the other Mayer?
Yeah, it was. It was Ralph.
Ralph Mayer, oh dear.
He's got big damage. Carl and Ryan are rattling off each other like a pair of pinballs in the background. Absolute nightmare for the
Porsche. You're paying the bill. No, you're paying the bill.
Yeah. And in doing so and in hitting each other like that, they make the bill more accumulatively. Either way.
I mean, poor old Carl, he must have got the fright of his life there with Heinz Mayer just speeding across the road. There was absolutely nothing he could do. This is going to be quite scary, I would imagine. So, minding their own business. Up the gearbox we go. Bang. Oh, that's violent.
And
that is the most frustrating thing in the... What on earth is he doing? Sorry.
And to be fair, I think Ryan, to me, it looked like he was clear. João Estevez, oh, that's the AM lead. João Estevez was leading the AM class, and he almost gives a kiss to somebody else there. Byron Crawford is now going to take the lead in the AM class. But I think Ryan honestly thought that he was clear of the front end of Carl's car there. I thought he was as well. And then for some reason, the two of them, like, hooked together. They just glued to each other. I really don't know why. Fausto Pinto's had a moment as well. Now, I think there's also something wrong with Amrik Sachdev's car. Because he got contact. I think the left rear of that... the left rear of that car is broken. Look at it.
Oh, yes. Oh, dear.
Yeah, that is very broken.
Very nasty.
That is because of the contact that he had with João Estevez. So João's just gone off in front, and watch, he just clips the left rear and breaks it. Breaks the toe link. Look, there.
Oh,
and that's it.
Just the tiniest of taps. It doesn't take much.
Oh,
the
there's more.
And then gets another help. Oh, dear.
That was Fausto Pinto. And that, to me...
That's harsh. That is really harsh.
Yeah.
Mind you, but the way this is going, as long as he's not being given the meatball flag for mechanical damage, carry on.
Yeah.
If you can. Because the attrition rate's been so high that you never know.
Yeah, that's it. You could still continue and be fine. I think we've still got everybody running. Carl is at the back of the field, but he is still running. So everyone still on track. It's just that a lot of them, of course, dropping down the order with the damage they've had. Closest to at the moment, Stephen Kershaw and Amrik Sachdev, but this is going to be a bit easier for Stephen than Amrik would like. Down the inside he goes. I like Josh Bailey's car as well. It's almost like a matte sort of... Is it like the Miami Blue, they call it?
It's a slightly different shade to be at Miami Blue. I would say that's quite similar to... Remember the old Vitaphone Maserati?
Oh,
that, or the...
Now you're
it's
talking.
got a slight Conrad motorsport edge to it, as well as Sachdev comes into the pits to take his fast repair. His Austin Greatorex leads in the very shiny gold Porsche Sport machine. But Riga, I think Riga's starting to rally here. I think he's actually starting to bring Greatorex back into play. And don't write off Christian Saruta either. Now, we managed to name his lovely purple, the lovely purple GT3 RS that Christian has, and it's Violet
Beauregard.
Beauregard, yes, from Willy Wonka. The name of the car.
Very, very good name indeed.
Violet Beauregard and the Flying Bogey. Perfect two-car garage.
Both very garish and very contrasting colours as well.
Yes, yes.
We've got two cars close together again, which is Kershaw and Josh Bailey. Stephen going through on the right-hand side before the chicane. Josh doesn't fight it too hard. Just making sure that he just keeps his nose clean at this point. I think he's conceded that he's not going to get through to the final here, so he's just making sure that he doesn't push too hard and ruin his race when it comes to sorting his grid position out for later on. Now, this is the battle for the front, though, and it's getting closer and closer.
Oh, and Mark Baxter-Jones, fastest man on track, 0.8 of a second quicker than Greatorex. Wow, so MBJ is on the move. I'm disappointed he's parked the Valiant livery. I do miss that. Yeah, that was very cool. But Mark Baxter-Jones, definitely one of the top drivers in the championship for 11th, 10th racing.
And they always have. He has always had really good-looking cars in this series as well.
Yeah.
There's a few guys that always nail the livery every season, if it does change or not. And Mark is one of them. The 11 10th cars last season was stunning as well, to be fair. They had different colours. Yeah, they had different colours for each round, and they looked awesome. And, you know, Johnny Elia did these amazing posters for them all as well. I'm pretty sure it was Johnny that did the posters, because he's an absolute graphical and video editing god, is Johnny. Oh, Michael Rowe. Michael Rowe's chucked it away. I think that was out of the top 10 as well. It was not. He was 11th, but he's thrown it away. Ryan Penny's had an issue.
Paddle round.
Oh.
So you didn't get that one earlier on?
I didn't know.
Paddle shift, Michael Rowe. No. Oh, Saruta's off. The bogey's in the grass.
Now, did he get help? I don't think he did.
No.
Oh.
Had to bail out of it. He actually had to let off the brake, otherwise he was going to plough into the back of Riga.
That's really selfless driving, though, and that's what we love to see in this championship. We see more and more of it every season as well, where drivers know that they learn about these situations that go on, because admittedly, you know, not all of these drivers are all that experienced in sim racing. You know, when we started, many of them were brand new to it and had got into it over lockdown because they couldn't go racing in the real world. But to be fair, even now we're still getting slightly new drivers to all of this, and you do see them learning and developing, and that's one of the main things, is this selfless driving of, look, I'm having an accident, but if I can avoid taking this guy out with me, then I will. And, you know, drivers do not sacrifice their own race, but they compromise, don't they, to make sure they don't get involved in other incidents with other people.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. And, of course, Christian has a lot of experience racing in the real world in Caterham racing, which is very close quarters, to say the least. So yes, that I'm sure that would certainly get you used to it. Is Carl Hazelton, good stuff there. Sees the blue flag and moves across to let the leaders get on with it. And they all get through nice and clean. But half race distance, can Riga make the move on Greatorex? That's the question. We know he'll have a go. Paul's never backwards and coming forwards, that's for sure.
Definitely not.
But Austin's been doing a lot of driving at the moment. He's been doing a lot of racing and a lot of winning, from what I can see.
Yeah.
If you're, you know, if you want to watch his stream, I think it's Austin Lee TV. I think.
Yeah, it is.
Twitch.tv. Yeah.
But Austin
Great
is
bedtime watching. Yeah,
he's very, very quick, though, is Austin. And like you say, he's been doing a lot of winning. He's one of them drivers that finds the limit really quickly and then just balances on it. Riga, we know, is fast because he won at Spa 2 seasons ago, I think it was. Or was it even last season? No, it was 2 seasons ago. Paul Riga.
I think the rest of the field are still finishing that race. He won it by so much.
Oh, he was absolutely gone. Completely gone and up the road, bless him. Fantastic drive that was by Paul Riga. But right now, Mark Baxter-Jones is going to be loving the sight of this in front of him. 2 cars battling for the lead, sort of teammates. They're not quite in the same livery, but they are effectively stable mates. So I think Mark is going to be thinking, oh great, 2 Porsche sport cars. And as Lucas said in the chat, what could go wrong?
Multi-21. And of course, really, Austin's got ground to make up tonight, because he really was unlucky last time out of the Red Bull ring. Got taken out a couple of times, no fault of his own, and had to just fight on and make the best of it from there. But yeah, I think with a clean run, he's got good pace for, I think, an overall podium. I think come the feature, definitely in the definitely possible for Greatorex. Now the Newman car,
gorgeous.
Yeah, Paul Stout. Yeah, so good. They've actually, there's a tuning company that have released a GT3 road car version inspired by this car.
Oh, nice.
It looks great, apart from they put different coloured wheels on different corners.
Oh no!
Like, yeah, it was all going so well,
and
then until it wasn't.
Don't like that. Now this is an important battle, actually, because this is for the final spot in the top 10 and a spot in the final. Stephen Kershaw has gained 10 places from where he started so far. Fausto Pinto's gained 3, and Paul Stout has gained 6 to be where he is now. So all of these guys have worked very hard indeed. You could argue that Stephen's worked the hardest, and he's not got long to try and pick these 2 off as well, and it'll be a hell of a drive through to have gained 12 places outside the top 20 to get into the top 10, and he's certainly trying hard. We've seen him go past a few people already, actually, so far, so it's good to see this continued progress from Kershaw, because he's one of the drivers that, again, continues to improve season on season. That might be a slowdown. No? Apparently not.
Playing the system well. Yeah, very good. Well, this is brilliant, because the 10th, 11th, 12th, and only one of these cars can go through at this current moment in time, and the rest will be going through the Consolation race, and that it really is a lottery. And you do not want to be part of it. You do not want to buy a ticket for that lottery. You want to be desperately trying to get into that top 10. I think that's why that was such an impressive drive from Bernie, from Mark Phillips, to stay in that top 10 under a lot of pressure. And yes, I am angling for a shot of his fancy pool with jacuzzi, hence the creepy crawly.
No, I know what you mean, though. It was a lot of these races come down to circumstance. You know, heat racing is very frantic because you don't have long to do it, and it's not like you can just sit in 11th. If you're Fausto Pinto right now, you do not sit 11th and think, oh yeah, it's good for the championship.
Who's that on the side of the road?
Was Ryan Penny. Ryan Penny off for some reason. Greg Butterworth's off as well. Head in the clouds, I think. Now, someone who's got his head in the clouds at the moment is Austin Greatorex, because that's the only place where he can avoid looking at what's behind him, which is Paul Rieger and Mark Baxter-Jones right together. Both doing a mega job so far. They've not actually been fighting that much, but I think that they know that they can't, because otherwise MBJ is going to come through. Very, very sharpish. But this has been a great display so far from both of them. Austin really, really quick, but great stuff from Rieger to stay with him at this point in time. Oh, João Estevez has had an off. Sorry. But we'll have what? It's 1 minute 28. So, we might get 2 more laps now. This one and one more.
I think we will. Yes, we will. Oh, that's not what Austin Greatorex wanted to hear. However, I tell you, who will be happy to hear that is Christian Ciruta. What a fight back from Christian Ciruta in the flying bogey. Well, just when you thought you got rid of it, you see it attached to the bottom of your jeans. I thought I flicked that. Wait, no.
That's so relatable, though. Oh, mate. It's vile,
don't
but
pretend.
true.
Like, don't go like, ooh, that's disgusting. Like, we all know.
I've got a story for you later about something like that. Byron,
it's brilliant when you see someone like driving the other way who thinks they're completely undetected and they're just
like
meaning.
Knuckle deep. With in the nose, I must add. Byron Crawford is 5th at the moment, leading the class with Rob Sharp in 2nd place, 2.5 seconds behind him. Paul Stout has still got these guys climbing around behind him. Stephen Kershaw has gone through and is now into 11th place. So 11 places gained into 11th. And the next one, if he gains it, is going to be the most important for this race. Now, let's see how long these guys get to complete this. We've got 15 seconds left. Austin's not going to risk backing off that much. 10 seconds to go. And this is now going to become the final lap of the race. Barney dusting off the white flag. Ciruta is getting closer. And he could well be in with a fight here, but we need to look at this because Kershaw has got ahead of Paul Stout. Kershaw's got it done, so as soon as we looked away, he got the job done. Look at this coming through as well. That's Stephen Harpham making moves. Oh, sorry. There we go. Oh, so he got it done on the way into the chicane. Oh, lovely.
Good dummy.
Lovely. Nice, and to be fair, Stout gave really good space there. That was really good awareness. Nice, fair racing.
That's when, you know you've been dummied and you just take your medicine. You just go, all right, okay, well played, sir.
Yeah.
Well played. Been done there. Look at this, Austin Greatorex just turning on the afterburners just when it's required. Pulls out a couple of vital car lengths over Paul Rieger. Now the question is, can Rieger hold off Mark Baxter-Jones into the Melbourne hairpin? 2 more chances to have a go, and Rieger goes defensive.
I think Rieger actually got the back end out there when the car wobbled on the exit of the chicane, and I think Baxter-Jones didn't want to even show his nose. He's just playing it safe for now. Now let's see, does anyone go for a send at the final corner? No, they're not going to risk it now. They'd ruin not their race, but the drivers around them. Austin Greatorex takes the win in the second heat of the night from Paul Rieger, Mark Baxter-Jones and Christian Ciruta. Fantastic stuff to watch. Massive congrats, boys. That was great fun. A really strong chase. Byron Crawford is going to win the AM category on this occasion. Very well done, despite the slightly dented crockery on the front right. Rob Sharp is 2nd in class, 6th overall, and it's Ross Dunstan, Oliver Carwadine and Stuart Clark both make it through. They were very under the radar. And put your hands together, everybody, because 12 places gained. Stephen Kershaw gets himself a place in the final from 22nd on the grid. What an awesome drive that was, Peter.
It certainly was, yeah. Really, really impressive. To keep also to avoid all of the carnage as well, because there always is when you're coming from further back in the grid. But Stephen Kershaw, he can now make himself a cup of tea and watch the consolation race, get ready for the final.
Yes, indeed. That's one of the benefits. Oh, no. Oh, Gregory Butterworth and Amrik Sashdev have both gone off in the final couple of corners. Oh, Oh, Greg tightens the line.
Oh, dear.
Amric just nails him in the door. And that's the second time Amric's had an incident there in this race as well. And he's just going to finish ahead of Gregory Butterworth on the road. But here is your race winner. It's almost like he doesn't know it's over yet. He's still going for it with Baxter Jones. Actually, no, it's Crawford behind him. But still.
Right, checkered flag, Austin. Checkered flag. He's too busy talking to his subscribers and followers and fans.
Maybe he's got some spare fuel. James Cummings starts on pole position then for the Consolation ahead of Fausto Pinto, Paul Goffin and Stephen Harpham. Then it's Gavin Halls, Paul Stout, David Patching and Josh Bailey. Luke Holroyd and João Estevez round out your 10. Carl Sharkey is 11th ahead of Colin Wynne with Spencer Ayres and Michael Rowe just behind him. Then it's Angus Archer and Ralph Mayer, Ethan Gardner and Heinz Mayer. Then it's Peter Brill alongside Amric Sashdev. Andrew Soper and Gregory Butterworth make up row 11. Mark Elvin and Ryan Penny 23rd and 24th. With Andrew Marston, Carl Hazelton and Sam Sellers all having nightmares in their respective heats, hoping for a better run this time out. So this is usually one of the most entertaining races of the night, Peter. 10 minutes rather than 15, so much less time for these guys to get the job done. And the last chance for a lot of them to get into the feature. Who's your money on?
Oh, well, that's, I think Sashdev is going to get into the feature.
I like that. I like that a lot. We're away then. Consolation is go. There's a number of them starting from the pits. Andrew Soper, Cummings, Penny, Halls, Holroyd, Wynne and Stephen Harpham, I believe. But we're all getting away. There they all are. Making their way. Okay. Making their way out bit by bit. Oh, there's contact on the outside. Who's that going off? Is that Josh Bailey was involved in it? And it was the 61 of David Patching, I think, that was also in that one. Oh, big sideways down the hill. That's Michael Rowe. That was a scary moment. Oh, there's a massive accident behind. Multiple cars off. Sam Sellers has been chucked to the inside. Oh, there's a load of them off. There is a load of them off, mate. Go to the blimp. We'll have to have a look back at this because that was a big old accident. That apparently Carl Hazelton went off.
Involved as well. Oh. Right, let's try and get a look at what happened. Now, is that the Mankini International Racing Team car that had got a bit of a spin on, and then that just triggered a chaos?
I think it might have done. Yeah, I think.
Oh, Andy Marston off as well, and Luke Holroyd, I think, got tagged right at the end of this as well. What? Carl again, it's just not his face. What can he do?
He's really not having a good night of it. And I think, like you say...
Did he sell somebody a dodgy trade-in or something? Oh, and he clips Luke Holroyd. Oh, dear, Carl.
I think Luke got away with that, you know. But yes, it was... It was Elvin that had his moment. So I think, who was he in contact with? It was the... Oh,
he gets on the grass and tags the back. Oh,
Peter Brill, that was. Peter Brill he was involved with, and then they all just rattle off each other. We obviously always do say for them to hold the brakes and stuff when they're backwards, but in these things, you know, it's very difficult when you're going that fast down the craners to hold the brakes and it actually have any effect.
Gavin Halls has come back into the pit. Now, he did... yes.
Oh.
Game over for Gav. What's happened there? Huh. Because he looked like he'd profited massively from that chaos. Watch this. So I think he makes it through clean. How? I have no idea. Gets onto the grass. Okay, clean for now. Clean for now. Still clean. So he gets through clean. That's weird. So what? It must be after that then.
Trying to have a look if he had any other dramas.
Or has he just thought?
Oh yeah,
enough's enough?
Yeah. He does have an issue. Oh no, it's just when he pulled over. That's really strange. Not a clue. Either way,
right.
The facts are Fausto Pinto leads the way. Paul Goffin is second. Then it's Paul Stout, João Estevez, Carl Sharkey leads the pro drivers. Then it's David Patching and Spencer Ayres has got Josh Bailey, Ralph Mayer and Michael Rowe just behind, and he is currently in the final position in the top 10 and the final place going through into the final. So it's all kicking off already now, Peter, but we'll keep our eyes, I think, mainly on this top 10 lot.
Yes, well, that's what it's all about. to get that last spot in the feature. Fausto Pinto leads confidently from Paul Goffin. And yeah, for Carl Sharkey, obviously one of the very few pro drivers left in this consolation race. Most of his pro rivals have already got through to the feature and through their heat, but all he can do now, Carl Sharkey, is just get as far up the order as possible and get himself as good a grid position as possible for the points paying feature race. But we're nearly halfway through this consolation already. There really is not much time to recover if you get caught up in an incident, and the amount of drivers there that were completely blameless, that have had their nights ended, that's one of the factors of Donington, actually. That opening section on cold tyres, it is lethal.
Yeah, it really is. It's a scary, scary bit of road, to be fair. And in a car like this, if you do push it a bit too hard, it can all go to pot very quickly and be hard to recover from. Now Angus Archer is going to try and go past Michael Rowe. Ralph Mayer went a little bit too deep into the chicane, and look at that now. He slammed on the brakes, lets everybody go through. Even Heinz Mayer goes through. Sorry, it was Colin... No, not Colin Wynn. It was Heinz Mayer that had it, or was it? Oh no, that's a car that's a lap down, isn't it? Sorry, that's Sam Sellers. Apologies, I thought there was a move on there, but it was just Sam trying to get out of the way of everyone. So Michael Rowe hasn't gained a place, he stays in 10th. My bad. Angus Archer looking down the inside, trying to make a move. He's got the big Porsche branding down the side in matte down there on a very metallic car. Not sure if that's meant to be the other way around or not. But I was told earlier that, well, earlier in the season, that a number of people had issues with their spec maps and so on, which bits of the car are shiny and which are matte and so on. So I'm not sure if Gilles is meant to be the other way around. Angus, sorry. I was looking at, because this is Gilles Gardner, sorry. It's not Ethan Gardner. It's Gilles Gardner. It's one of the names that we hadn't fixed from the start of the season. So apologies, Gilles. But we'll owe you a drink. Anyway, Luke Holroyd right behind.
I think... Now, that'll either be... I was going to say Gilles Villeneuve. No, it wouldn't be. That would be spooky.
Oh no!
Just lost it on the brakes. Oh. Oh dear.
Smile.
Oh, he's just waiting for the engine to spool up there.
So Fausto Pinto. Well, he
really needs to focus.
He's Faustist at the moment, leading the way. Paul Goffin in second place. Carl Sharkey is up to third now after gaining 8 places. Amrik Sashdev not currently on his way into the final, I'm afraid, Peter. In 25th place now.
I really did curse him there, didn't I? I mean,
I think so.
Yeah, it could have gone either way, but
oh yeah,
Amrik will plough on nonetheless.
The curse has come 360, you could say.
Yes.
Now
yes, indeed.
João Esteves trying to chase Paul Stout in the Newman car. Up to Coppice they go. Smoothly does it into the right. I'm pretty sure João's car was white and green last time out. He had the white with the metallic green bits on it, but either way, he's changed it now, so it's green and green. I'm sure someone will correct me. But these guys don't need to battle at this point in time. The people that do need to battle are here. Michael Rowe needs to defend for his life ahead of Angus Archer, so he can get a spot in the feature. But Angus is trying everything he can to try and get through, and it's getting very, very close, lap by lap. But I'd say, Peter, we're going to get 2 more now after this one.
Yeah, yes, we will do. So, game on for Angus Archer. He's going to try and get himself up into the feature. Fastest lap of the race for Sharkey, much quicker than those around him. Moves up to second place past Paul Goffin. So Sharkey doing all he can here. Made just the tiniest error in the heat. Paid a big price for it. And now fighting hard to try and get the best grid spot he can for the feature and see where it goes from there. Because as we know, well, anything can happen on the first lap. You could find yourself out the race. You could find yourself gaining 10 spots. And it's kind of a roulette wheel to see which you get.
It really is.
Trainer's Casino.
Definitely, mate, definitely. Some of them have really benefited from it. I mean, some of the bigger movers in the field that have gone into the top 10. Ralph Mayer has gained 7 spots. Carl's gained 9. Spencer Ayres has gained 6. Michael Rowe's gained 4 to be where he is now. He's just got one more lap after this to hold on ahead of Angus Archer. And to be fair, he's doing it right at the minute. Angus is close enough to make a move, but he can't risk doing anything from too far back here. I think he's just playing it safe for now and waiting for an opportunity to come to him, but he's running out of time for that. Now this is going on as well, which is obviously going to help grid positions between these guys. João Estevez gets into 4th. Nice move as Paul locks up the front right down the hill. He's going to try and come back at him. Puts his nose down the inside, but nothing doing there. One more lap to go then in the consolation race. I tell you what, Peter, these evenings, they certainly fly by, don't they?
They do, yeah. It's this short, snappy format really does work. And of course, we'll be going into the feature race in just a moment, the 20-minute feature race. Very, very important, because that's where all the points are paid out. And can anybody do anything about Jacob Toffs? That's going to be a hard one. We'll see. You never know what can happen. Of course, these cars, they do actually take a little bit more of the tyres need a little bit more waking up than they did in the old car. So you do have to let them come in a little bit, and that's caused problems for a few drivers. Whoa! See Carl Sharkey trying his best to make a move here on Fausto Pinto. This would only be one grid spot, so has to make sure that it's clean, this move here as well. But Sharky's all over Pinto here as well, and jinx to the inside.
Fausto's having none of it.
Not quite. Well done, Fausto.
Love that. Fantastic defence. He's absolutely having none of this. Great stuff to watch. A driver that we didn't see last season, and a driver that I'm gutted we didn't see last season. He may be in the M-Class. Oh, what a cutback, though, from Carl Sharkey. Is he going to make it stick? He pressures him over to the left-hand side. Fausto is not able to do it. Or is he? Sharky's gone deep. Consolation comes down to this on the exit. Carl's going to get it done. Fausto finishes his 2nd. Paul Goffin is 3rd. João Estevez is going to go through to the final as well, just ahead of Paul Stout. And then it's going to be David Patching next up. He's certainly been one that's been patchy on the radar. He certainly wasn't the most attention-grabbing driver there. And well done, Michael Rowe. What a great drive from him through that one to hold on to 10th place. And he will be the final driver to go through into the feature race for tonight, Peter.
Oh, brilliant job there from Michael Rowe. So he won't be watching the feature race with donuts. He'll have to watch it later. He'll be part of the race as well. Fantastic finish to that consolation race. Just the tiniest mistake from Pinto there, but good clean racing between Pinto and Sharkey as well. Just one move on the straight and defending the position very well. Super stuff to watch.
It really was. And now we won't have long before we get through to the final race of the night. What we're going to do, though, is just take a quick look at some of the results that we've had so far this evening. We'll look at the top 10s that we've got. So Jacob Tofts, David Ward and Simon Povey, the first podium of the night. They were a long way ahead of Johnny Elia and Tom Slater. Mark Johnson, Mark Bowe, Chris Byram, Andrew Shepherd and Mark Phillips joined them from the first heat. Who have we got from Heat 2, Peter?
So in Heat 2, Austin Greatorex picking up the win by 4/10 of a second there from Paul Riga, with Mark Baxter-Jones rounding out the podium. Christian Zeruta, good recovery from Christian to get to recover back to 4th place. Byron Crawford top of the AM class in 5th. Rob Sharp finishing 6th. Ross Dunstan in 7th. Oliver Carbadine in 8th. Stuart Clark in 9th. And Stephen Kershaw coming through the pack to get the last spot in the feature.
And then from the consolation, we have Carl Sharkey, Fausto Pinto and Paul Goffin on the podium. João Estevez and Paul Stout round out the top 5, and then the rest of them all AM drivers. David Patching, Spencer Ayres, Josh Bailey, Ralph Mayer and Michael Rowe after that fantastic defence earlier. What we're going to do now, though, everybody, is just take a very quick break. Peter and I will be back with you in a few minutes, and then we'll have the final race of the evening. We'll see you in a few. Well, hello again, everybody. Chaz, Draycott and Peter MacKay here on Simracersworld TV with the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. We're here for the final race of the night. It's been a fantastic night of racing so far, and we now have our feature race with reverse grid, of course. Stephen Kershaw and Mark Phillips make up the front row with Stuart Clark and Andrew Shepherd on row 2. Then it's Oliver Carwadine and Chris Byron. Ross Dunstan, the highest placed pro driver, ahead of Mark Bowe. Then it's Rob Sharp and Mark Johnson. Behind them is Byron Crawford and Tom Slater, with Christian Saruta and Johnny Elia on row 7. We then have Mark Baxter-Jones and Simon Povey, with Paul Rieger in 17th, David Ward 18th, Austin Greatorex 19th, and Jacob Tofts rounds out your 20. We'll filter through the rest of them, which made it through from the Consolation race. There's a hell of a lot of cars here, Peter. Difficult to put your money on anybody in this field.
Certainly is, yeah. Very, very, very tight indeed. And yeah, who's going to come out on top? Of course, with the partially reverse grid, does throw up quite a lot of variables here for the top runners.
Kershaw starting from the pits as well, don't forget, with Archer, Wynne, Cummings and Harpham. That means Bernie's on pole, and Bernie leads them away. But for how long? Everybody fans out. This is a slow start by Ross Dunstan. He was the highest placed driver in the pro category, and he's now dropped down quite a lot. We'll go to the trusty old blimp because we'll see if any issues unfold a lot easier. Look at them all making their way down the hill though, Peter. It's an absolutely lovely sight to behold, and what a sound as well.
It's a dolly mixture of colour as well, with all these different liveries as well, as they make their way down to the old hairpin in a much more orderly fashion, as well as Jacob Tofts trying to make his way past. I think that's Austin Greatorex, yes it is, and Carl Sharkey all of a sudden right there in the fight with the leader. So heat racing can throw you out the game quickly, but you can also fight your way back in as well, and that's exactly what Carl Sharkey has done. Now all of a sudden he's in the points paying race and he's right behind the fast guys. Perfect for the driver of the 77. But Bernie leads. Mark Phillips in the creepy crawling machine. This livery is working very well.
Oh no!
Oh dear.
Sorry, Johnson head-butted one of the cars in front of him there. Simon Povey's off. Simon Povey, one of the main challengers for the title, is off, and he's out of here. Povey is fuming and he is gone. I'm not quite sure who it was that Mark Johnson hit. Rob Sharp it was. Rob Sharp that he went in the back of. Mark's just a little bit late on the brake. Oh, the back end locks up. And then next thing you know, oh, Simon Povey got drilled in all of that.
I think by Paul Rieger. Could be wrong.
Yeah, Rieger's gone in the pits. So these drivers basically have it's called the orange zone rule, isn't it? They call it.
Yes.
So
yes, that's right.
If you're naughty.
Yes, if you cause an incident on lap 1, you have to take yourself through for a drive-through, and if you don't call it upon yourself and you're protested afterwards, the punishment is severe. It's kind of like, yeah, when you're a kid, it's like, if you tell me what you did, I won't be angry, I'll just be disappointed.
Very true, very true. But
yeah,
you know, it's a good way for these drivers to have the awareness. Oh no! Caravan Carl has put it in the trailer park. Absolutely nailed Austin Greatorex off the road. Oh, there's another car around as well. That was Josh Bailey. David Patching involved in that as well. Greatorex recovers, but at what cost? Awkward. That was very awkward indeed. Carl battered into the side of him. Oh. I think
not like Carl at all.
I think he lost it on the brakes. On the right-hand side, look. Does he touch the grass? Yeah.
Hits the grass, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, excuse me, sorry.
Poor old Austin.
Poor old Byron. Look at this lot behind him.
I mean, I know Birmingham is about 350 miles from here, but I'm pretty sure I just heard Austin expressing his displeasure all the way from there.
I wouldn't be surprised, mate. Very, very frustrating moment for him. Side by side here. David Ward, Tom Slater's closed him off. Oh, and David's been tapped again. David gets a big hit. He needs to be very careful. Oh, and he's been drilled as well. Is that Mark Bowe? Mark Johnson. Mark Johnson.
He had nowhere to go.
No, he really didn't, to be fair. But that started with Mr. Slater. He just comes across the front. You can't do that down the Craners. And then there is the contact for David. That damages the rear suspension. He's on the brakes. He's doing everything he can. And bang!
Oh,
that's a sickening impact as well, sim or not. So we've lost a lot of drivers from this already. There's a battle for the lead that we need to look at, though. I wonder if Austin knows what the front of that car looks like that he's chasing. But this is the battle at the front. Mark Bowe nearly going into the back of Stuart Clark there. Stuart's been very, very quick. He's won a race as well in the championship. Won at Alton Park a few seasons ago. But Mark Bowe is the highest placed driver in the AM category, Pro category right now. But it's 2 AMs leading the way. It's been a bit of a messy one so far, Peter. 5 cars out. Slater, Ward, Harpham, Povey and Archer. They'll all be very disappointed.
yeah, they will. Yeah, but you have to say a great job so far from Mark Phillips, from Bernie, as Saruta, who's made a great start to the race in the flying bogey. Up the inside here at Redgate on the run down to Craners. Now, don't get into the same incident, guys. Give the room. And Saruta taking quite a wide berth there from Chris Byram.
Nice.
Very wise. That's a real world racer there. Just, if you've been down Craners in real life, I think you're fully aware of the perils of the place.
Oh, God, yeah. I think I mentioned it on the last broadcast, actually, that I was lucky enough to go down there with somebody that shares the same surname as Stuart Clark. It was Charles Clark driving his Porsche Cayman GT4 race car down there in the wet. And, yeah, peril is not the word I would have used. It's something probably unbroadcastable, and many of them, and a lot of expletives, and can I have some new pants, please? But, yeah, it's certainly an amazing piece of road, but a very, very damn scary one. Whether it's in the sim or in the real world, you know, it's still frightening when you're side by side. Now Saruta chucks it down the inside of Andrew Shepherd, and behind it's all getting close as well. That's Mark Baxter-Jones on Byram. You've also got Jacob Tofts coming through, doing what he does best as well. Some of the drives through the field by these pro guys is absolutely awesome to watch. Look at Baxter-Jones down the inside. That's another one. Bit of contact there for Shepherd, I think, from behind. And that slows up Byram, and then Tofts goes through. So it's all change here, Peter.
It is, yeah. Jacob Tofts just picking his way through cleanly. And do you know what this drive here from Jacob Tofts reminds me of? Is a classic King Hippo. A classic Ryan Parkins drive.
Yes.
Just absolutely not a mark on the car. Just using his speed, deploying as and when he needs it, but keeping plenty in reserve. Just picking his way through gently. And he's got time to do it. He's got 20 minutes, well, just under 20 minutes now. So he doesn't need to try anything too silly yet. And just making his moves nice and clean.
Oh, not there.
And that's how you win the championships, around the outside.
Oh.
Yeah, very nice.
That was disgusting by Jacob Tofts.
Yeah.
But he set that up.
To be fair, I think, yes, he did. And I think Andrew Shepherd just said, round there. Oh, okay. Yeah, all right then. On you go.
You do you, hon. That was unbelievable by Jacob Tofts. But like I was saying, he set that up. He put his nose down the inside on the left, made sure that Shepherd had to go really deep on the inside line, tighten that line up, and then he couldn't let it run out wide. So Jacob knew he'd have the space. And that's the thing, though. These drivers know how respectful they can be with one another and know how other drivers will treat them. And that's a great thing about league racing on iRacing, is that you get to know the drivers that you're with. You're not with different people in every single official that you do. And more rides on it as well, because, you know, you're interacting with these drivers more. It's not like you're in an official race and you'll never see them again. You know, you're going to race them week in, week out. So it's nice to see that respect. Andrew Shepherd and Byron Crawford giving each other just enough room down the straight, you could say. Byron certainly not wanting anyone to be like a bull in a china shop. And Andrew, unfortunately, has dropped a number of places on the last lap, really. Tom Slater has gone off again as well, Peter. Now, he was already at the back. Oh, I think he's had enough. Yeah. Decided to call it a day. And of course, Tom in the pro class, so wasn't scoring major points anyway. One driver who is really on the move, Christian Saruta, 4th place. He's just set the fastest lap of the race of anybody. So he's quicker even than Jacob Tofts right now. So Saruta is in the hunt for this race win. He's got the track position right now because Tofts has got to get past 2 pretty feisty competitors in Mark Baxter-Jones and Oliver Carwadine here. Oh, that's not what you want to see. No.
Oh dear. Mark Bowe up the inside. did see Mark. It does appear to be fighting with some sort of internet connection issue.
Yeah.
Because I did notice that in the heat race where there was a slightly odd reaction of one of the cars near him, and that usually hints at an internet problem. So hopefully that clears itself, because we don't want the joys or not of internet unreliability to play a factor here. And oh, what is going on here? Big smash. James Cummings and I think Spencer Ayres.
Yep. Oh no. James has just gone deep on the brakes. The two of them have got glued together, and they both got very lucky.
That's going to decay their relationship.
Yeah, indeed. That's made a mountain out of a molehill. Nope. Mark Bowe still trying to hold on.
He's incising his way through. Oh, that's a big... Oh, my word.
Oh, and Zaruta's doing a tough.
Big old block there from Mark Bowe. Wow-wee. That was fierce. Fierce defence there from Mark Bowe. And I think that's caught Christian Zaruta a little bit by surprise, because he's going to lose out here to Stuart Clark. And that... Oh, as Toft gets checked up and clips the back of Baxter Jones. And they just get through. Well, this is getting all very feisty all very quickly. Meanwhile, Bernie's away going, yes, have that, boys.
He is indeed. But this is the thing, you know, some of these pro drivers that are coming through, yes, they may be quicker than a number of the AM drivers that they get to overtake, but everybody's at different stages of their own races. So we always get this little sort of mix-up in the middle where drivers that have started right at the back are catching the ones that started in the middle, who are catching the ones that started at the front. It's this real sort of reverse accordion effect every single lap where they all check up with each other, then somebody makes a move, somebody gets free, and then the gap opens up again. It's so fantastic to watch this sort of racing. It develops so quickly, and we really have to be on our toes, as does Mark Bowe. As Zaruta looks down the inside, Mark shuts the door. It doesn't work for him. Zaruta manages to get through unscathed, but they're still side by side down the crane as Mark squeezes him to the inside. Zaruta's got rid of the overlap. What a beautiful run he must have had out of turn one. Now Zaruta's only got one driver to beat now, and that is Mark Phillips in front of him. But what can Bowe do to try and come back at him? I don't think really too much right now, Peter.
No, I don't think so. But Mark Bowe certainly making it very difficult there for Zaruta to get by, and they're right on the edge. And yeah, Zaruta did well to have the patience to just wait his turn, wait for a gap to open up, and now, well, Jacob Toft is going to have the same issue. Baxter Jones just back a little bit now. Will Mark Bowe throw the same defence here? That's interesting. Jacob decides, I'm not going to try and dive up inside there. I've been watching all this going on. I know where I can get him. There he goes. Now he's going to try and make a move into the Melbourne hairpin. Just about. Yeah, it's very clever racecraft. Very clever.
That was very tidy from Jacob Toft.
I wish I had 10% of his intelligence now, let alone when I was 17.
It's incredible, isn't it? And that you're very right to pick up on the age thing as well, because you know, younger drivers, you usually see them act a little bit more erratically on circuit. They try and make a move every single corner. Zaruta going through past Mark Phillips as if he wasn't there. He caught him very quickly, actually, considering the gap he had, but this is pro drivers versus Mark, who's in the AM class. Michael Rowe is without a paddle on the outside. And there's been big contact with him and Colin Wynn by the look of it. Oh, they've both gone deep. Colin's on the outside. So, oh, Colin loses the back end. They get glued together. Ah, that's a big hit. And that's not...
It's just a typical racing incident, unfortunately.
Not a comfy wall, that either.
No, it's no such thing as a comfy wall. Yeah, not so nice. So, Toft has made his way through on the very impressive Mark Bernie Phillips. I'm sure Ernie will be going bananas right now on the sofa.
Ah, woo.
Yes, he will. Ernie, that, if you're wondering who on earth is Ernie, Ernie is Bernie's loyal pooch. And of course, Mrs. Phillips as well. Hello, Mrs. Phillips. This is your man's doing very well here. He's, you know what? He's buying on Amazon tomorrow a creepy crawly swimming pool cleaner.
He is.
Ah,
oh, unless he does that.
Oh.
Well,
I'll send you to the clerk of the course.
Way. There you go. Now, if it was Stuart's old livery, he'd be saying, right, back to the drawing board. Down the inside it goes. Oh, Bernie's closing these gaps off like it's the FIA rule book here. Saying, get out of it, Stuart. And don't forget, they've got Chris Byron behind them as well. So Chris Byram's just ready for all the fireworks to kick off. As long as he can avoid the two of them when they undoubtedly go spiralling off the circuit, he'll be fine. Now, we've seen people close one another off down the corners. Is Bernie going to do that? No, of course he's not. He lets Stuart Clark go, leaves him the space. Now, Byram's got a car with him as well. Carwadine right behind him. Now, what can he do to get into second place? It's all starting to come undone here for Bernie. It's almost like Peter mentioned it. But here we go up the hill towards McLean's. They're all just trying to get one over on each other here, because some of them are starting to send it down the inside. Others, like Chris was there, are sort of hanging back and making sure that they just focus on a good exit, aren't they? It's really intense strategy from all these guys.
Oh, it's fascinating. And of course, there's the inter-class battles to worry about. Of course, that move there that Stuart Clark finally got done on Mark Phillips. Here comes Byram very late. Oh, it's almost as if he thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound, I've got to go for this now. But they all get through cleanly. That was close.
That was very close.
Very close indeed. But yes, that move got Stuart Clark into the AM-class lead on Bernie there. So quite an important move. But this isn't done between Mark Baxter-Jones and Mark Bowe, because this is for the podium. And Mark Baxter-Jones just has to check up slightly there. I think he's a little bit quicker, but needs to be very careful how he makes the move by. Toff sits the fastest lap of the race. First man into the 127s, my word. 7/10 quicker than Tsuruta last time by.
Yeah, very, very quick indeed. Stuart Clark continues to lead the AM class, but this is the battle for the Pro class and the overall race lead. Tsuruta's been absolutely phenomenal tonight, but Jacob Tofts won the first heat. He was fastest in qualifying, and he knows exactly what he needs to do. And he's just closing on Tsuruta. And I think we know by now that Jacob is going to use that very, very mature head of his to just maybe put a little bit of pressure on Christian here and there. He's not going to try anything too over the top. He knows that if they work together, they can probably open a gap even more on Mark Bowe and Mark Baxter-Jones behind. It's already just under 4 seconds. I think they can get that to 5 before Jacob even needs to start attacking. But look, they are starting to fight here, Peter, so he's not being patient, and I'm chatting absolute rubbish.
Yeah, this is... it's just a little tap to the rear there. Now, the drivers have to be careful on incident points. A spin for Mark Baxter-Jones. Spin for Mark Baxter-Jones in that battle for third spot further back. But, oh dear, is Jacob Toff just trying to just little tips and taps there to the back of Christian Tsuruta. And, Baxter-Jones lost it all on its own there. All on his own. Oh, dear.
Oh, we had that going on at the same time.
Now, this is where the 992 Cup car is a bit different. Not only do the tyres need more warming up, they also drop off quicker. And that you can really start to see that now as we get into the latter stage of the race. There is actually a little bit of tyre drop off, especially at a circuit like Donington where you're wearing them hard. Yeah,
definitely. It's a circuit that really demands a lot from the tyres because there's a lot of high-speed corners. You really lean on them, and the undulation doesn't help either, to be fair. Just love the way that they go up to McLean's. It's such a difficult corner to get right. Chucking it hard through the left to then get the weight transfer sorted and get the car stopped and fling it over to the right in a corner that goes over a crest. It's a big, big challenging piece of tarmac. And I tell you what, these two don't want to share a single piece of the tarmac right now. They're very close together. Tsuruta doesn't get it stopped down the inside. Tofts is aware of it. Oh, lovely cutback by Jacob Tofts. Suddenly the car gets a lot of punch out of the corner. Up the hill they go to the final hairpin. Tofts got the run, but is Tsuruta going to be later on the brakes? He keeps it down the inside, and is he going to hold the position? But Tofts is there. There's contact. The two of them go off. I think Tsuruta ran him out wide. I don't think Jacob will be too pleased with that. That was a very, very difficult one to call, but they seem to get stuck together. How they're both still running, though, Peter, I do not know.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Tsuruta was in his rights there to shut the door, and Tofts was left the option, go in the grass or back off. Let's have a look at it from the blimp cam. This will give us a good idea. So yeah, very cleverly, Tsuruta just a little bit later on the brakes there as well, and maybe a little bit on the stiff side, but Tofts wasn't really quite alongside by that point. But I think that will set a precedent, and with 7 minutes to go, Jacob Toffs will be rubbing his hands thinking, all right, okay,
Yep.
that's how it is. Watch this. And I think there'll be a response to that. And as you, in a battle like this, you set the tone by the moves you make, and yes, that Christian Tsuruta is saying, yeah, this is a knife fight, pal.
Well, to be fair, I mean, in Christian's defence, I think what brought the cars together was Jacob kicked the back end out, and I think in how the car pitched left, it actually sort
lock
of...
up.
Hello. He's going to get a nice run off there, though, isn't he? I think that when Jacob's car just slid to it sort of stepped the back end out to the right, and it hit the right rear of Tsuruta's car, and I think that's what brought them together, you know. So
yeah, could have done.
It pivoted it one way.
It's a bit odd, isn't it? The way the cars don't quite contact with one another quite right at the moment for some reason.
Yeah, there's a few bits where it's a bit questionable. Byron Crawford has taken the lead in the AM class, by the way. Stuart Clark got a slowdown penalty out of Coppice, so now it's Crawford from Byron from Clark. There's moves going on further down. Carwardine letting Austin Greatorex go through. Austin's come from 19th up to 10th. That's brilliant stuff from Austin. He started 19th, gained some places, and was then involved in an incident, and from there he's come through. James Cummings has still gained 15 places to get up to 19th, so he's actually flying as well, just not as high up the order. Now look at this, Toft's all over the back of Tsuruta. It's getting feisty now, boys. There's a bump in the rear as Tsuruta goes wide. Toft's down the inside to the chicane. Who's your money on?
Oh, money is on one of the drivers getting a drive-through penalty for incident points because, well, they've both picked up quite a few of them now. Now, who is going to... Oh, and Toft just decides against it, and Tsuruta knows he's got to defend it. He knows he doesn't quite have the same pace as Toft, so that's quite clear, but doing a super job to keep the defending champion at bay. This is such a good drive from Christian Tsuruta so far. Now, is Toft's going to make the move? I don't think he's quite close enough, but they've got a bit of lap traffic up ahead. This could open up an opportunity for Toft's here as well as Tsuruta just taking that late apex, trying to get on the power earlier and protecting himself down towards Redgate, which is working beautifully, but
for how long?
Get on the headlight flasher, because I'm not sure who that is in front. It's
Rowe, Michael Rowe.
Michael Rowe, yeah. As they're cutting, this is really not the place where you want to come across lap traffic. But well done, Michael Rowe. That's very good driving there, and allows the leaders through.
That was really nice by Rowe. Really good awareness. We've got Andrew Shepherd, who's got a bunch of cars behind him further down. This is Goffin, Pinto, and Estevez, all chasing him. That is really the dolly mix, as you called it before, Peter, very correctly. And we've got a nice alternation here with AM and Pro drivers from 5th all the way down to 11th. 50-50 split. Well, no, it's not, is it? But you know what I mean. It alternates one then the other. We'll go with that. But this battle is actually very, very close indeed. If we look at the car at the back of it, João Estevez, you'll see pretty much all four of them on screen at once. Estevez all over the back of Fausto Pinto, probably thinking, hey, is that Tsuruta?
Yes, well, both very similar cars, but yeah, just a couple of minutes to go. What a battle at the front here between Christian Tsuruta and Jacob Toffs, and it's there's deep and there's that. Oh my word, Tsuruta, he's playing this fast and loose, isn't he? Because every time he runs deep into that final hairpin, he gives Toffs an opportunity to dive up the inside. So, but of course, being deep into that final hairpin gives him Tsuruta the opportunity to get on the power earlier and use that classic Porsche 911 drive out the corner. He's obviously been practicing around roundabouts in his GT3 RS, obviously. So, yeah, that's how to get around the hairpin. But yeah, this is a superb battle. This is what we've been looking for at the front of the field. And Jacob Toffs finally...
no!
Dear, oh dear, oh dear.
Oh, Jacob will not be happy with himself over that one. Tsuruta will be fuming.
Mark Bowe could win this race, because I think Toffs might pull over here.
Yeah, I think he will. He's not at full chat. Yeah, he's not. Look, I think he's waiting for Tsuruta to come round, but I don't think...
I think better just get going.
Yeah. I think he just tried to go one way then the other. I think he honestly just tried to go to the right-hand side. We'll see it here. he wanted to straighten it up. It was just a little bit late on the brakes, and it's a mistake that Jake. You can see that Jacob knows he's made it. He knows he made that mistake, and fair play to him. He's thrown the win away because he's allowed Christian back with him. I think he's realised now that Zaruta's car is damaged, and he may as well get on with his race and take the penalty later. But
yeah,
he's at least been there to show Christian the gesture of hanging back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a tricky one. I think Saruta might need to come to pit lane before the end of the race.
That's the AM lead! Crawford.
Oh, my word.
Crawford, and who else was that? Was that Baxter Jones?
I think Michael Rowe was involved as well. Oh my word, what is going on?
Was it Johnny Elia? It might have even been Johnny Elia,
Could have been. Mark Bowe is going to win this race.
Crawford over
Mrs. Bowe will be good. Both Mrs. Bows will be going, but I don't believe it.
Oh my lord. Michael Rowe will be absolutely kicking himself.
He'll
for
be
that
sick.
one.
Oh.
So anyway, as Murray Walker used to say, hello Mark Bowe and hello Mrs. Bowe, who will be...
Both Mrs. Bows.
Yes, both Mrs. Bows, who will be watching this right now. Mark may have the number 11 on the car, but it's made up of number 1s, and currently he is number 1 by some margin, 4.1 seconds.
on the podium. Where on earth did that
How
come from?
on earth has Austin done that? Right, we'll get to that in a sec.
They'll be dancing in the streets of Birmingham tonight.
Oh, they will. With cup of tea. But Mark Bowe makes it round the final corner. Put your hands together, everybody. Taking the win across the line. Mark Bowe wins at Donington Park. Fantastic drive. Chris Byram takes a win in the AM class. Not how he would have wanted to win it, but either way, Greatorex on a podium. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Mark Baxter-Jones 4th ahead of Stuart Clark, 2nd in class. Jacob Tofts takes 6th, but for how long? Bernie finishes 7th, 3rd in class ahead of Johnny Elia. Rob Sharp is 9th. Oliver Carwadine rounds out the 10. Wow, oh wow. What a night of racing we have had, Peter. That was insane. Byron Crawford limps across the line. He will be fuming after that.
How about in tears for poor old Byron Crawford? Who was it who got... was that Johnny Elia that got taken out with him?
Yes, it was, yeah.
This is just... I mean, what are the chances?
Yeah, there's not... I mean, at the end of the day, Michael was doing what
it's nobody's fault. No,
yeah, Michael was doing what he could
luck
to get out of the way, wasn't he? That's just devastating.
I don't know where to begin.
I really don't.
Well, it's nice to see that Jacob Toft didn't do a Ferrari while giving the place back.
Yes.
WEC, yes.
Yes. I was wondering if that was going to pop up tonight.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Jen Bo
Give
Spain.
the place back. Nah.
Yeah, no. We could have done, but they pitted. Nah. Jen Bo Spain in the chat says, woohoo twice. Good racing so far. And certainly after seeing Mark win that one, we'll be very happy indeed. We do have a result, and at the top of it, you will see that Mark Bowe takes the race win. Chris Byram, 2nd place overall for an AM driver as well. Brilliant stuff. Austin Greatorex, what a performance that is. Hats off to Austin. Mark Baxter-Jones finishes 4th ahead of Stuart Clark, 2nd in his class. Then it's Tofts and Phillips with Johnny Elia. Rob Sharp and Oliver Carwadine rounds out the top 10 after a very under-the-radar performance. Saruta is eventually classified 11th. He'll be absolutely devastated. Andrew Shepherd and João Estevez 12th and 13th. Then it's Ross Dunstan and Fausto Pinto. James Cummings, Stephen Kershaw and Byron Crawford 16th, 17th and 18th. Spencer Ayres is 19th with Paul Stout rounding out your 20. Then we have David Patching and Heinz Mayer, last one on the lead lap. 1 lap down was Josh Bailey, Michael Rowe, Ralph Mayer and Paul Goffin. Paul Rieger was 4 laps down with Mark Johnson 28th. He was, in the end, 8 laps down. 10 laps down for Colin Wynn. We lost Carl Sharkey, Tom Slater, David Ward, Simon Povey and Stephen Harpham. 3 laps apart, with Angus Archer being classified at the bottom of the pile. So a very attritional final race of the day, Peter, but Austin Greatorex, for me, one of the real stars of that one. What an insane drive through the field that is.
Amazing recovery there from Austin Greatorex, yeah, to come from so far down in the pack, and I don't think the car was in 100% health either. I think it was maybe a little bit down on top speed, possibly with the damage, but you got to feel, well, two things. You got to feel for Christian Tsuruta, and you've got to feel for poor old Byron Crawford as well, in the AM lead, and indeed Johnny Elia. What drama. Yeah. I think it's got to be one of the most dramatic finishes we've had in PCGB Sim Racing history, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
What I can remember.
No, definitely. We lost both class leaders in the same, within a lap of one another. It's just unbelievable. And, there were honest mistakes by other drivers that, they could have been avoided, but at the same time, they're just hard racing, and they were both trying to do what they could do. Jacob was just trying to make a move. He was going a little bit later on the brakes, trying to look down the inside. Michael Rowe was just trying to get out of everybody's way to let them on with their own race, but unfortunately, both ended up backfiring, and, we had a very, very dramatic final few minutes. But what a fantastic shot that was there of all the drivers making their way down towards turn one. We're just focusing on Austin Greatorex at the moment and his drive through the pack. That's the sort of Lorcan Hannafin inspired car, isn't it, with the wonderful matte black sections and the beautiful gold. Looks great. Jacob
Yamaha speed blocks on there as well.
Yeah,
that's pure Yamaha speed block.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it. Jacob Tofts was in the middle of that as well, actually. You can just see Jacob on the right of shot there in the teal coloured machine with the Shark e-bikes branding. We're just waiting to see as well if anybody
Spearmint
wants...
Polo machine.
Oh, yes. Oh, I love a Spearmint Polo. They're really good. You just can't get them everywhere. But we're just... If I'm honest with you, we're just sort of waiting for drivers to turn up for an interview at the moment. Austin Greatorex did join the Discord a few moments ago, but hasn't jumped in yet. He's probably still pandering to his viewers and all of his fans. But to be honest, Peter, we've always got a lot of drivers to look at in this racing and in this series. Is there anyone that really stood out to you tonight across all 4 races, or at least all the races they were in?
I mean, I think you've got to give really big props to Christian Tsuruta, because it has been quite a while since someone took Jacob Tofts to the wire in a feature race. It has been a really big while. So I think you got to give him a big props. It didn't end up how he wanted it to. He'll be disappointed. But one man who I think we should get a chat to, who will be very happy to go from gravel to podium, Austin Greatorex.
Yes, indeed. And we will drag him in and have a word, because after what went wrong early on with some of the incidents he had, to come back through, Austin, you must be absolutely over the moon to get an overall podium in that one, second in class as well. What a drive.
Hello guys. I honestly don't know how that happened. Obviously there was a bit of incident between the leaders on the penultimate lap, and then I was ever so fortunate at the start of the last lap avoiding contacts after obviously more bit at the start.
And it's not really the easiest of places to make up places as well, really, is it? Because it's such a high-speed circuit, Donington. All these cars are really on a knife edge around here. So what did you find was key to coming back through? Was it just patience, or was there something specific you were doing with the car?
A lot of it, Chaz, was more patience, but I realised that after speaking with Paul Rieger after the heat race, and he was saying how quick I was through the chicane, I literally decided to just set moves up there. So I don't know how much you caught on the broadcast. I just backed off slightly, and most of my overtakes were on the run out of the chicane.
Well, we did see a number of drivers try it, but not always succeed. We didn't admittedly notice a theme of you doing it, but now I'm going to watch back and think, oh yeah, so he did. But it's great to have that confidence, though, isn't it? To know that there's a certain part of the circuit that you can just get right that other drivers don't nail, and you keep that in your back pocket for the whole event, don't you?
It is great until one day it'll bite me in the backside, shall we say, because it more than likely will happen one day.
Well, hopefully we don't get to see that day, mate, because that was one hell of a drive back through after falling down early on. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before we go?
Yeah, you guys for the broadcast, all of the organisers and everyone in PCGB, all of Porsche Sport and my sponsors and bits like that. So we've got Shark e-bikes, Midas, Cobra, Johnny Moore Watches, Strasser, and then I'd also just like to say happy remembrance for everyone tomorrow. Obviously it's the 11th of November and Remembrance Sunday as well.
Nicely said, mate, nicely said. And just again, sorry, before we let you go, very quickly, it's Imola next time out. Is that a place that you're looking forward to racing at, or is it a bit of a thorn in your side?
I hated it previously, and then I did it not so long back in the GT3, and I really enjoyed it. So I've not tried it in the Cup car yet. We will see in 2 weeks' time.
I look forward to you riding the curbs, mate. We'll see you then.
See you later, guys.
Cheers. Fantastic drive through the field, all-round top bloke as well, Austin Greatorex. He really fought hard for that one. And, well, an overall podium, like I said, second in class as well. A really, really strong result. Another gentleman that we should speak to who had a great day and eventually finished just in front of Austin on the road and winning his class is Chris Byram. Chris, you must be maybe, well, over the moon for the result, but maybe a bit gutted for your competitors after the incident.
I didn't even know I was in P2 for a while. I just literally last lap and I was like, oh, what's happened? I didn't even see anyone go off.
Well, that's probably the best way for it.
I thought it was back markers.
Well, to be fair, if you treat it like him and you think, why is this guy not getting out of my way? That's a good approach to have if you're trying to overtake somebody, I suppose. But talk to me about this car at Donington, because it's not an easy place to get around in any car, but in something as floaty as this, I imagine you were really on your toes tonight.
It's a lot better than the last car. I really just couldn't get to grips last season with the previous generation of 911. It was so difficult, so snappy. This one's still more floaty, but I just feel I've got a bit more control over it. So it's just the brakes, isn't it? It's locking up the brakes and not panicking and not locking up. Luckily, I think I pulled a move on the admin hot boss, didn't I? And luckily, left me a lot of space to get by. So no, it's I'm enjoying the car this season. It's really good.
That's always good to hear, and it gives you that confidence as a driver as well when you're enjoying what you're behind the wheel of. So we look forward to seeing what else you can do with it. We go to Imola next time out. Is that a track that you're looking forward to driving at?
I like it, but I never really go well there. It's really, really bumpy, and sort of the curves are absolutely vicious as well. So it'd be interesting to see how the car handles there. But looking forward to it. Just try and aim every week is just get through to the final and then just do the best I can do.
Well, you've certainly done a good job of it so far, mate, and we look forward to seeing how that continues. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before you go?
Just the series organisers and yourselves. It's a really good league to be in, and the effort everyone puts in, it's fantastic. So keep up the good work.
Smashing stuff. Nicely said, mate. Well, great to speak to you again. Thank you very much for joining us, Chris, and we will see you at Imola.
Take care. Bye.
Cheers. And one more, Peter, who may be slightly with his tail between his legs a little bit. I'll hand it over to you, Peter, for Jacob Tofts.
Well, Jacob, at least you didn't do a Ferrari.
Wow, what can I say?
Yeah, at least you've got some honour. Talk us through, all jokes aside, that was an extraordinary battle to watch between you and Christian there. Just tell us what happened from the driver's seat.
Well, I ruined it, basically. We were having loads of fun. Bit of rubbing. Well, before that. And then I wanted to go for the switchback because I've been going on the outside there the last few laps. And then the lap before that, he didn't defend the inside, I don't think. So I thought, next lap I'll go for it and hope he leaves me space. And then I go for it. And I'm not sure what happened. I haven't watched it back yet. But I think it's my fault, but I think he moved over to the right a tiny bit, and then there was some net code. But I think I would have still hit him anyway. It's annoying, because it was so good up until then.
It was fantastic to watch. I mean, for you, Jacob, you're always up there in qualifying, usually pretty clean through in the heat, but the feature race is tough going for you because you've got to start in the middle of the pack. I mean, how do you deal with that to try and keep alive in those early laps, because it can be pretty chaotic?
Normally I aim to sit behind MVJ or Christian, and then in the last 5 or so laps, or whenever it's just us, I start to pass them, just because there's no point trying to overtake people who are a similar pace to you. When we're overtaking maybe some AMs or some slightly slower pros that are out of position because of the reverse grid. So it's just best to work as a team and pace ourselves.
Well, Jacob, it's certainly been fantastic to watch you so far this season, and we've got lots of races coming up. Looking forward to watching it, and good luck for the next round.
Thanks, Peter.
Well, there you go. Jacob Toft maybe a little bit of a sour taste after this meeting for that, but we commended him for it at the time, and I will commend him for it again. He at least showed the intention of letting Zaruta back through, but with the damage, he couldn't then sit with him for the whole race, and I don't think Christian would have expected him to, but I think Jacob may have a penalty coming up in future for that moment. But it's defining moments like that, Peter, that make the racing more interesting for us, I suppose, isn't it?
Well, it was Jacob said it there. They were having lots of fun. Well, we were certainly having lots of fun watching it, and it just shows that there are drivers in the field who can take it to Jacob Toffs, and Christian Zaruta did that tonight. And I think that's part of the reason why. I think, bless him, Jacob. He's clearly gutted. You can just hear it in his voice, can't you? It's a real shame. He quite clearly, there's nothing done on purpose, and in fact, drivers make an effort not to have contact if they can, and hopefully we get a replay in 2 weeks' time at Imola. That'll be good.
It certainly will be. Absolutely.
Some say the Italian Donington.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that unfortunately is all for now, though, from Donington Park and the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Series. It's been a hell of a lot of fun again. Thank you very much to my wonderful co-commentator, Peter MacKay. I've been Chaz Draycott, and we will see you in 2 weeks' time at Imola, as you've heard here, for another wonderful night of racing. For now, enjoy the music, and we'll see you then.
The night in. Wow.